You've probably taken an Uber hundreds of times. Maybe after a night out, from the airport, or just across town. It's easy, it's convenient, and it feels safe. But what if one ride went terribly wrong? What if the driver isn't who they say they are? Or worse, what if they're not human at all? In tonight's chilling lineup, we dive into 3 terrifying real experiences that will make you think twice before ever stepping out to the back seat again. In Story 1, a young woman accepts a ride just as her phone dies. But the car that picks her up doesn't seem to be using the Uber app. And when the doors lock and the driver takes a route that doesn't exist on any map, she realizes she's not his first passenger, and she won't be the last. In Story 2, a seasoned Uber driver accepts a mysterious late-night request from a rider who warns, "Don't look in the rear view." But when mirrors start reflecting things that aren't real, or aren't human, his sanity and his soul begin to unravel on a dark highway with no end. And in Story 3, an executive with a perfect 5-star rider rating is automatically paired with an elite experience she never signed up for. Inside a black SUV with no handles and a driver with camera eyes, she's told one thing: you've been selected. Each story grows darker, more twisted, and more disturbing than the last. So buckle up and don't miss a second, because tonight your ride may be your last. Story 1, the ride that skipped the app. It started with a phone battery at 3%. Sasha had just wrapped up a late shift at her downtown barista job. The streets were buzzing with post-midnight city life, couples stumbling out of neon-lit clubs, the smell of stale beer clinging to the sidewalk, a saxophone player wailing into the night like something lost. Her phone flickered again, 2% now. She opened the Uber app, fingers trembling in the chill air, and requested a ride home. Black Toyota Corolla, 4.9 stars. Driver's name, Peter. ETA, 6 minutes. As the app was loading the real-time location, the screen dimmed. 1% battery, and then just as it buzzed, a black Corolla pulled up to the curb. The window rolled down. "You Sasha?" The man's voice was smooth, friendly. He even wore an Uber lanyard around his neck. She nodded quickly and climbed in, not wanting to be stranded when her phone died. The car was spotless. A little pine tree dangled from the rearview mirror. Jazz music played softly in the background, but the GPS screen was off. "Traffic's nasty tonight," he said, turning the wheel with casual ease. "I know a shortcut." He turned left, away from the main road, away from the usual route. Sasha tensed slightly. This isn't the way home." Peter chuckled. "Relax, it's faster this way. You'll thank me." But the more he drove, the more the streets grew unfamiliar. Streetlights began to vanish. Brick turned to broken asphalt. The jazz faded out into the low hiss of static. "Seriously," she said, heart thudding. "I want to go the normal way. This doesn't feel right." Peter didn't answer. He just smiled. They passed an abandoned gas station with all the windows smashed out. Sasha's heart jumped. "Stop the car." Still no response. She reached for her phone. Dead. She tried the door. Locked. The child lock clicked into place without her noticing earlier. Peter finally spoke again, calmly. "You know, Sasha, they always think I'm just another driver." She froze. What do you mean?" Another turn. They entered a wooded area. No houses, no street signs, just trees. "Your ride hasn't arrived yet," he whispered. "But don't worry, you'll meet him soon." She pounded on the window. "Let me out! Help!" But there was no one around to hear her. Only darkness, only trees, only that smell, like iron and mold drifting from the vents. That's when the car suddenly stopped. They were in the middle of nowhere. Peter turned off the engine, folded his hands on the wheel, and smiled at her in the mirror. "You can run now," he said. "Let's see how far you make it this time." "What?" He pressed a button. All the doors unlocked, and Sasha bolted into the woods, breath jagged, lungs clawing at the cold air. But behind her, in the blackness, she heard it. Footsteps, laughing, a second voice whispering her name. Sasha didn't look back. She couldn't. She could feel something was watching her. Not just one person, but two. Branches whipped her face. Thorns tore at her leggings, but she didn't stop running. Somewhere behind her, Peter was still laughing, low, playful, like this was all a game. And then she heard it. A second voice, a voice that matched hers, repeating her screams, mocking her panic. "Let me out! Help! Let me out! Help!" It echoed through the trees, not from Peter, but from the woods themselves. She stumbled into a clearing, and there it was. Another black Corolla, identical, running, headlights on. Her heart dropped. Inside in the driver's seat, Peter. No, not him again. His face was different. Still smiling, but stretched, twitching, too wide. The car door opened. "Need a ride?" he whispered. Sasha backed away. No. Behind her, twigs snapped. Peter #1 stepped into the clearing, brushing leaves from his jacket like he was on a casual stroll. "Well," he said, "she made it farther than the last one." "She's not broken yet," the other replied. "She will be soon." Sasha screamed and ran the opposite way, blindly, tears in her eyes. She tripped on something, a pile of clothes, dirt-covered, blood-speckled. A phone lay on top, screen cracked but still glowing faintly. The Uber app still open. The name on it was Emily Last, updated 3 days ago. Suddenly a hand grabbed her shoulder, Peter #1 again, but his face was blank now, like it had been reset. "We're going in circles," he said softly. "This forest always eats the ones who don't listen." She twisted away and smashed the phone across his face, then ran. Finally. She saw it. A road, headlights, a real car. She waved her arms frantically. The car stopped. The window rolled down. A woman leaned out, concerned. "Are you okay? Oh my God, you're bleeding." "Please," Sasha gasped, collapsing. Take me to the police." The woman helped her into the passenger seat, locked the doors, turned off the jazz music that had been playing. "I'm sorry about the mess," she said. "There was another one last night." Sasha's blood turned to ice. She turned her head and saw it, an Uber lanyard hanging from the rearview mirror. Story 2, Don't Look in the Rearview. Brandon was a 5-star Uber driver. He knew the city like the back of his hand, kept gum and bottled water in the back seat, and always had the perfect Spotify playlist queued up. He drove nights, less traffic, better tips. But he had one rule: never pick up unconfirmed riders. So when the request came in, no profile photo, no rider name, just C. He hesitated. The pickup was at an old highway rest stop that hadn't been in use for years. Brandon squinted at the screen. C, 5 stars, 642 rides. Odd. The rider's message read, "Please don't cancel. I tip well. Don't look in the rear view." Brandon chuckled nervously. Probably some edgy college kid trying to freak drivers out. But money was money. He accepted. The rest stop was barely lit. A broken vending machine buzzed under a flickering light. No sign of anyone. Then, a knock on the rear passenger window. Brandon jumped. The man was already inside before Brandon could ask his name. He wore a black hoodie. His face was turned away, pale hands folded neatly on his lap. Brandon cleared his throat. Hey, you see?" The man nodded slowly. Still no eye contact. Brandon started the ride. Destination. End of route. No address. Just coordinates. Deep into the woods outside the city. You, visiting someone out there? Brandon asked. The man didn't answer. He just whispered, "Don't look in the mirror, please." Brandon swallowed hard. He adjusted the rear view instinctively. But the man's reflection wasn't there. He turned his head. The man was sitting behind him. But in the mirror, just empty seats. Brandon's blood ran cold. Maybe it was a trick of the light. He turned the music up, tried to keep his eyes on the road, but the air in the car grew heavy, cold. He could see his breath. The man spoke again. "You're a good driver, Brandon." Brandon stiffened. "I never told you my name. You didn't have to." They drove deeper into the woods. The GPS glitched. No cell signal. The road narrowed into cracked asphalt and mist. Brandon looked up again, instinctively, and saw it. Not the man, but something else in the back seat. Pale, grinning, twisted, pressed up against the glass like it wanted out. He slammed on the brakes. "Get out of my car," he yelled. But the man didn't move. He only said, "Too late. You looked." Suddenly the engine cut out. The headlights flickered off. They were surrounded by darkness, and in the black. He heard them. Whispers, breathing, scraping. The backseat door opened by itself. Cold air flooded in. Brandon turned around. The man was gone. Only the hoodie remained. But in the distance, through the trees, dozens of mirrors hung from the branches, swaying, and each one reflected something different. None showed the car, none showed Brandon, but they all showed that grinning thing in the back seat, and it was slowly walking toward him. Brandon's lungs were locked. His hands gripped the steering wheel so tight, the skin on his knuckles cracked. The thing in the mirrors, it didn't blink. It didn't even move like a person. It just shifted, closer, from mirror to mirror. One moment, 20 feet away, then 15, then 10, then slam. A face hit the windshield. But there was nothing outside, no dent, no mark, just the ghost of breath on glass. From inside, Brandon turned the key, over and over. Click, click, click. Engine, dead. Phone, dead. Then the glove box snapped open on its own. Inside, a folded note. His handwriting. But he never wrote it. He never remembered writing it. It said, "Don't drive tonight. Don't take the call. And above all, don't. Look. Back." He opened the car door and stepped out. Leaves crunched beneath his shoes. But he didn't feel alone. The trees were humming, and those mirrors. They were no longer hanging. They were planted, like eyes, buried in the earth, tilted upward, watching. Brandon staggered forward, desperate to find the road again. Then, behind him, the car turned on. Headlights blazed, engine revving. It started driving toward him. No one at the wheel, just that hoodie sitting in the back seat, arms folded like a corpse. Brandon dove into the woods. The car crashed into a tree. Alarms screamed, and then silence. He ran until he saw a flicker of streetlight, civilization, an old gas station, lit up and real. He stumbled inside, panting, blood running from a gash on his forehead. The cashier blinked slowly. "You okay, man? There's something out there. Something in my car. I need the police." The cashier nodded, picked up the phone, paused, then said, "He's here again. The driver. He always comes back." Brandon's heart dropped. "What are you talking about?" The cashier motioned to a faded wanted poster on the wall. His own face. Brandon, missing since 2020. "He picked up the wrong rider," the cashier said. "You'd think they'd learn by now." Brandon backed away. "No, I'm not missing. I'm not." He turned toward the mirrored freezer door behind him, And in the reflection, he wasn't there. Only the back seat, only the hoodie, only that pale face, smiling. Story 3. The 5-Star Trap. Cassie was an Uber Platinum rider. Corporate account, late hours, airport pickups, hotel drops. She knew how to work the app like a pro. Never accepted rides with low driver ratings, always double-checked the license plate, and kept her pepper spray clipped to her keychain. But one Tuesday night, around 11:47 p.m., something strange happened. She finished a client dinner in downtown Chicago and stepped out to request a ride. The streets were near empty, the wind sharp. She tapped the app, and a ride was already waiting. She hadn't even requested it yet. Driver is arriving. Samir, 5.0 stars, 4,812 trips. A perfect record. Too perfect. The car pulled up. Black SUV, clean, license plate, matched. She got in, but something was off immediately. No greeting, no music, no air conditioning. Samir stared straight ahead. Didn't even check if she'd buckled in. He started driving. The route on her app flickered, glitched, then disappeared. Only a loading symbol now. Cassie leaned forward. "Hey, is the app bugging out? I can't see the destination." Samir didn't answer, but he turned right, away from her hotel. "Excuse me, I think you're going the wrong way." Silence. Then, "You've been selected." Cassie blinked. Selected for what? Still no eye contact. Then her phone buzzed. "Your Uber Elite experience has begun. Rate the ride in real time to earn exclusive perks." Underneath was a live updating star rating, 5 stars. She tried to exit the app, but her phone locked her out. Every time she looked away, the car seemed to move faster. Lights smeared, roads blurred. Her ears began to ring. She pulled up the emergency contact on her phone, pressed "Call 911." The screen changed instantly. "911 has been rerouted to Uber support." Her heart dropped. She looked at Samir. "Stop the car." He finally turned. His eyes weren't human. They were glossy black, like 2 polished cameras. "Please enjoy your premium experience." One way only. She reached for the door, locked. The handle was gone. Just smooth plastic. Her seatbelt had fused into her jacket somehow, and now the windows were blacking out. She couldn't see the city anymore, just the screen on the dashboard. It displayed her face in real time. 5-star animation blinking in the corner. "Smile for your elite review." Her body went cold. This wasn't a car. It was a trap. Cassie tried to scream, but the seat pressed back against her. Seatbelts coiled like snakes. The speakers whispered, "Only riders with a 5-star history qualify. You should be proud." She realized. This wasn't about transport. It was a harvest. They picked the best, the most reliable, the perfectly rated. Samir turned again, exiting the highway. No signage, no map, just a long stretch of road lit by flickering blue lights. Ahead, something massive, a structure, a glowing tunnel. Her phone buzzed once more. "Final stop approaching. Thank you for choosing Uber Elite." The tunnel ahead pulsed with a faint bluish light, like a neon heartbeat. Cassie screamed again. This time, the sound didn't even bounce off the interior. It was swallowed. Inside the dashboard, her own face blinked back at her from the screen, framed in a golden border, now labeled Tier 1, Harvest Ready, rating 5.0, locked. She grabbed her phone again, forced a restart, held the power button down with shaking fingers. Nothing. The screen flickered once, and then started showing a live feed from inside the car, but without her in it. It was like she'd already disappeared. The SUV glided toward the tunnel. No driver input. Samir's hands had now fused into the wheel. No movement. Just bone-white skin and camera eyes twitching in rapid, robotic patterns. Cassie's seat reclined against her will, holding her in place like a surgical chair. Above her the ceiling shifted, a hatch opening, long silver needles hanging down like teeth. She thrashed, screamed, bang, the car jolted, a glitch. The tunnel lights dimmed. Samir twitched violently, and suddenly, her seatbelt loosened. Her door, which hadn't existed seconds before, now slid open. No time to think. She dove out of the SUV and landed hard on concrete, rolling in gravel and dust. The vehicle didn't stop. It continued forward into the tunnel and vanished. Not drove away. It blinked out of existence like someone deleted it from the world. Cassie scrambled to her feet, a sharp pain in her ankle, blood on her elbows. She looked around. She was in some kind of underground loading dock. Dim lights buzzed overhead. Dozens, hundreds of vehicles sat quietly, all black, all clean, arranged like coffins in rows. Most of them were still running. From one of them she heard soft music playing, a child's lullaby. From another, a voice whispering, 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars. Cassie limped between the cars, desperately searching for an exit. Somewhere in the shadows, metallic claws scraped concrete. Above her, mounted security monitors blinked to life. Each showed a different passenger, men, women, children, trapped in identical cars, some crying, some still smiling, dazed. All of them were 5.0 rated. She wasn't the first. She wouldn't be the last. Then, footsteps, echoing, not from behind her, from in front. A figure emerged wearing an Uber jacket, holding a scanner. It wasn't Samir. It wasn't human, either. Its face glitched every few seconds, shifting into the image of a recent rider, old woman, businessman, teenager, Cassie herself. She ducked into one of the empty SUVs, crawling into the back and holding her breath. The figure passed, didn't stop, didn't scan her. It just whispered. Another one fell out of the cloud, tag her manually, and vanished. Cassie waited until it was silent. She slipped out, found an old stairwell near the loading bay, and climbed until her legs gave out. Eventually, a maintenance door. She kicked it open, and just like that, she was in a city alley. Garbage cans, neon signs, reality. She collapsed on the sidewalk. A man walking his dog stopped, alarmed. "Are you okay?" She nodded frantically. "My name is Cassie. I need help. Call the police, please." He dialed, told them everything. When the police arrived, they listened, took notes, nodded sympathetically. But the moment they left, Cassie pulled out her backup phone from her purse, opened the Uber app, and froze. At the top of the screen, a notification blinked. "Thanks for riding with Samir. Your 5-star rating helps drivers like him thrive. Next ride, already en route." Below that was her own face, smiling, but she hadn't smiled in days. So, still feel safe calling that next ride? Sometimes horror doesn't come from haunted houses or ancient legends. Sometimes it pulls up to the curb, flashes a friendly smile, and says, "You, Sasha? You've been selected. Don't look in the rear view." These stories are more than just nightmares. They're warnings about trust, about convenience, about how much we blindly hand over to technology every single day. So next time you order a ride, double-check the plate, double-check the driver, and if anything feels off, get out. Because once that door closes, you might not be the one in control anymore. If you made it this far, thank you for riding with us tonight. Be sure to like the video, subscribe for more true horror every week, and let us know in the comments, what's the scariest experience you've ever had with a rideshare? We're watching, and your story might just be the next one we tell. Stay safe out there, and remember, always watch the rear view.